half price on fresh pork shoulder roast, just $2.39 per pound. Save $1.30 on white whole mushrooms, $2.99 for a 10-ounce package. New frozen 9-ounce Taipei Asian-style entree, just $3.99 for select varieties. Frozen 12.3-ounce Eggo waffles, $4.59 for select varieties. $3.99 for a 5-ounce bag of select varieties of wholesome pantry organic popcorn. All stores open Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m.
You can count on us.
Live from Bermuda Broadcasting, this is ZBM TV9 News.
You're watching Bermuda Broadcasting News. It's Wednesday, the 25th of April. I'm Jasmine Patterson, and thanks for joining us tonight. OBA MP Jeff Barron today announced his retirement from politics. The former National Security Minister has decided to pursue other work and to focus on family life. More in this report. Mr. Barron discusses his decision to step away from politics in an interview released on social media this morning.
I've decided to take a step away from politics in Bermuda. It's a big decision, but I know in my heart it's the right time to do that. And I also know as a father and as someone who's excited about some opportunities that are coming up, it's about the right time, and I'm just so thankful to Bermuda for allowing me to serve in all those capacities as I have before, and I am really blessed.
The father of one adds that while it was a tough call, it was the right decision because it would enable him to focus on raising his son. But he looks back fondly on his time spent in public office.
I woke up every day and I loved serving. Politics is not a career. Politics is a service. It's an absolute privilege. And when you start to treat politics as a career, that's when you get complacent. Right? That's when you're not serving the people as best as you possibly can or should be. And so I'm a passionate person, and I've fallen down a lot. I failed a lot, and I think that I was able to shed a lot of insecurities early on in politics and say, I'm going to do me. I'm going to be me, and I'm going to be as authentic as I possibly can.
During his tenure, Mr. Barron was instrumental in the implementation of anti-violence initiatives such as Team Street Safe and Operation Ceasefire. He's also known for charitable work and raised $6,000 this year on a U.S. road trip for the Big Brothers Big Sisters mentorship program. In a statement issued this afternoon, the One Bermuda Alliance thanked Mr. Barron for his service to the island, his constituency, and the party, adding, quote, "We wish him much success." The party lost power in a landslide election last July, retaining just 12 seats, including Mr. Barron's, which was previously held by Mark Pettingill. Now there will be a by-election for seat number 25 Warwick Northeast, where Mr. Barron narrowly defeated PLP candidate and Attorney General Kathy Lee Simmons by 65 seats. Some are now referring to the constituency as a marginal. According to the Parliamentary Registry, a by-election must be called within 2 months of an MP vacating their seat. Attorney Narinda Hargan has been announced as the island's new Chief Justice. ZBM News has been reliably informed Mr. Hargan was chosen from a list of 3 applicants, 2 others being Bermudian. Gary Moreno has the story.
The announcement coming from Governor John Rankin, with the appointment taking effect as of 14th July this year. The statement from Government House reads, "I'm very pleased to announce the appointment of Narinda Hargan as Bermuda's next Chief Justice. Mr. Hargan is a highly regarded lawyer both within Bermuda and internationally. He has over 35 years of professional legal experience, appearing as counsel in the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal and the Privy Council, and serving as an Assistant Justice of the Supreme Court since 2011. The Governor expressed confidence that Mr. Hargan's legal expertise and management experience in the legal profession will serve the Supreme Court well, helping to maintain the island's standing as a legal jurisdiction of the highest order. It's been confirmed to us that Mr. Hargan was among 3 hopefuls seeking to succeed Justice Dr. Ian Kewali, the 2 others being Justice Charles Etta Simmons and Director of Prosecutions Larry Mussenden. Mr. Mussenden was said to be a close second. The commendation of the Chief Justice is made by the Judicial and Legal Services Committee, which is headed by Sir Scott Baker, a retired English Court of Appeal judge. We've so far been unable to reach Mr. Hargan to discuss the matter, one of his associates telling us that he was off-island and they would pass our request on to him. Mr. Mussenden declined comment, as did Madam Justice Simmons. But there is already talk that the recommendation of Mr. Hargan may not find favor with the government due to his role in the recent Commission of Inquiry into the report of the Auditor General on the Consolidated Fund of the Government of Bermuda for the financial years March 31st, 2010, March 31st, 2011, and March 31st, 2012. Elsewhere, according to his bio, Mr. Hargan's expertise includes Asia disputes and restructuring, as well as Bermuda litigation and restructuring, among others. And while the governor's statement indicates Mr. Hargan was appointed a part-time assistant justice of the Supreme Court of Bermuda in 2011, his bio indicates that appointment was made in 2013. Mr. Hargan is also a past president of the Bermuda Bar Association. Gary Moreno, reporting for the Bermuda Broadcasting News.
And the announcement of Narinder Hargan as the incoming Chief Justice is not sitting well with Premier David Burt. In a written statement tonight, the Premier describes the appointment as an affront to the elected government of Bermuda. Mr. Burt notes that the governor is constitutionally required to consult government over such appointments, while in this case, the governor did consult the government, in which Mr. Burt informed him his government could not support the recommendation of Mr. Hargan. Mr. Burt further states, quote, "We were elected to represent the people of Bermuda and to bring meaningful change to this country." The Premier's statement concludes that after 50 years of this constitutionally sanctioned disrespect, this is the latest example of this modern era of democracy being frustrated by the application of standards from the last century. End quote. We'll have more news for you after this short break. Stay with us.
Price Rate is your one-stop shop with something for everyone. Household goods for kitchen, bedroom, and bathroom. Aisles of bulk groceries at value prices. A complete selection of fresh meat and produce. And an extensive range of frozen items to cover every meal. Wines from around the world and beer and liquor at discount prices. Visit Price Right at our 2 locations in Pembroke and Warren. There's always something new and always something for everyone.
Bermuda. You want it. You need it. You asked for it. Backed by popular demand. One Communications presents Razor Returns.
It was awesome, present! Oh, big fan. It was an awesome show. Amazing.
What an incredible show. I never expected it. It's amazing. It's amazing.
May 11th, 12th, and 13th. Featuring a special Mother's Day show. A special Mother's Day show that will mesmerize your mind.
Mind-blowing. I can't figure out how any of that happened. I don't want to know. I don't know. My mind's blown.
Razor Returns. May 11th, 12th, and 13th. Tickets sold at Audiovisual Hamilton and Somerset. Fairmont Southampton and online at btix.bm. Sponsored in part by Exclusive Events, the Sarah's Family of Service Stations, Photogenic Photography, Fairmont Southampton Hotel, and Exclusive Flowers. Tickets are disappearing fast, so get yours today.
Statistician and college researcher Cordell Riley has backed the government and the Bermuda Tourism Authority's efforts to boost African-American tourism to the island. Both organizations released a statement recently declaring the BTA had partnered with overseas marketing firms to study the African-American market in a bid to diversify Bermuda's visitor base. Troy Trott sought his opinion on the size of the market while speaking to him by phone.
Yeah, according to a 2016 study, the Black American market is worth about $50 billion annually. So that's quite a considerable market. We've certainly been in the African American market for quite a while, as you know. Prior to segregation, the only places that you can come to is earned by Black guest house owners. So we've been in the market for a long time. So this renewal or this renewed emphasis on the Black American market is refreshing.
There has always been a perception here that African American travelers do not visit the island in significant numbers. You disagree with that?
Well, yeah, because first of all, you have to specifically market to the market that you want. And so if you haven't marketed to the markets that you would like to get, then they won't necessarily come. For instance, you've seen the BTA market now, or at least will be attempting to market to the gay and lesbian community. That's a relatively new market. According to the Pink study that was conducted in 2015, a worldwide study, that market was 25 years ago underground. So you have to develop a whole new market sets in order to attract that particular market. But the African American market is one that has been well established, and that's probably one that needs to be retuned. So I think it's certainly not a waste. African Americans travel to a very large extent, and like I said, the market is worth $50 billion.
It's been a monumental week for Bank of Butterfield. The lender not only posted another quarter of strong earnings, but its stock has hit an all-time high in New York. Shares hit $48.76 apiece in intraday trade as Butterfield continues to benefit from higher interest rates. It's also spending less on salaries. Analysts expect the bank's earnings to remain strong this year and next. The interesting thing is shares of Butterfield in Bermuda are trading at about $1 discount to New York, which means there's potentially an opportunity to make some money.
That is a huge premium for the same stock trading in two different markets. What arbitrageurs do is they will take advantage of that difference. Sometimes they would sell it in New York and buy it in Bermuda, or vice versa. The problem is the stock is not terribly liquid in Bermuda, and therefore it makes it very difficult to do it. But in theory, it is absolutely possible to do. It's legal. There's nothing wrong with it. You need to buy it in Bermuda. You convert it to the New York shares, and you sell it in New York.
It was a fairly mixed day of sun and cloud, but what's in store for the rest of the week? Let's go over to our friends at the AccuWeather headquarters for the latest.
AccuWeather is presented by BF&M Insurance Group. We now go to AccuWeather headquarters.
This AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by our friends at the BF&M Insurance Group, and we have some scattered thunderstorms on the way in. It's going to be a little bit of a wet night, more tumultuous out there in a few different forms. We have bigger waves, stronger winds, and some thunderstorms. A thunderstorm advisory is in effect. We've been looking at the lightning data, and there is a lot of lightning off to the west. You'll notice that tonight, and the satellite estimated rainfall is fairly significant. You can see where the satellite is estimating the rain to be falling under these tall, thick clouds. Pretty decent downpours in the few hundred miles and a few hundred kilometers off to our west. There's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. Here is the, we call it the X-ray of the atmosphere sometimes. It's the water vapor loop, and it shows a lot of the whites and even some greens, a hint of green into some of the white. That's where we have a whole lot of moisture flowing in from the south and west. Temperatures are actually up a bit right now. We've been warming up in the final hours of the day, 71 degrees across the island because of that breeze, strengthening from the south-southeast at 15 to 20 knots. Humidity 60 to 65%. The water temps around 72. That hasn't changed much lately. On the inside, we have 2 to 3 foot waves. On the outside of the reef and away from the island, 5 to 8 footers are crashing in. So tonight, breezy. Rain will increase. Look out for some thunderstorms later on. At least a storm expected, and a thunderstorm advisory is accompanied by our small craft warning that's in effect through Thursday morning. The high tide, 6 p.m. Tide goes out until around 12:13 a.m. just after midnight. Tide will come back in early tomorrow morning, and it goes back out at 12:49 for our low tide at midday tomorrow. So we mentioned the thunderstorm advisory. It's in effect late this evening through Thursday. Small craft warning in effect through Thursday morning. So tomorrow, your forecast still breezy. Can't rule out a rumble of thunder or two, and we do have some showers out there. 74-degree high temperature will be a little warmer than we have been because that flow from the south is fairly strong, and the flow from the south is going to continue tonight into the early morning hours tomorrow. Really, this is going to be a pretty decent moisture producer for us. And you'll notice there's not a front that swings through and exits. This just kind of gets hung up nearby, so we'll be dealing with a few days in a row of showers. The Gateway forecast. Toronto looks great. New York improving. Boston 65 with a few leftover periods of rain. Atlanta cool with thunderstorms possible. And into Miami we go. 86 looks great down there. London not nearly as warm as we were last week. 58 degrees with some scattered showers. Into the Caribbean. Spotty showers. Thunderstorms mid to upper 80s out there. That's par for the course. And our own extended forecast features some wet weather for about 4 days here. Rain widespread tonight into early tomorrow. Leftover showers. Friday, a few showers, and then increases again with the next system Friday night and Saturday with another period of decent rain. So we can use the rain. We've been a little dry lately. We will be drying back out into Monday. Back to you.
AccuWeather was presented by BF&M Insurance Group.
This summer I was in Germany on holiday with my family, and on a whim one day, my son and I joined a speed sliding competition. And as I came down the water slide, I went straight down in the pool and whacked my left foot on the bottom of the pool. And I looked down and I didn't see a foot. I just saw the bones sticking out, and I started to feel faint. I was ambulanced to a hospital where I stayed for 11 days and had surgery. I had snapped all the ligaments on both sides of my ankle. And in the middle of all this stress and pain, we thought, how are we going to deal with health insurance? How will we pay for this? And I got a response from Allison at BF&M, and she said, your admission and surgery will be covered at 100%. I didn't have to put it on a credit card and deal with the reimbursement later. It made such a big difference to us. And for me, the BF&M difference is stress-free insurance when I really needed it.
Bermuda, the MS Amlin World Triathlon Series is finally here, and we're bringing it to you live this Saturday, April 28th. We're kicking it off at 11:30 a.m. straight from the race village on Front Street. We'll also be speaking to event organizers, spectators, and hometown favorite Flora Duffy. So tune in to Channel 7 or go to our website at www.bbc.bm/live. And don't miss a second of the action. That's this Saturday, April 28th at 11:30 a.m. as we bring you live coverage of the MS Amlin World Triathlon Series from Front Street.
This broadcast is brought to you by our friends at Linda's Group of Companies. Why go anyplace else? Are you looking to expand your customer base, increase sales, and be a part of the Island Community Events for 2018? Bermuda Broadcasting Company can make that happen.
Be a part of World Cup 2018, Bermuda Day Half Marathon, Bermuda Heroes Weekend, Cup Match Classic, and Eastern Counties Cricket.
Inquire about our new advertising opportunities, whether big or small. We will deliver. Come and see us at Fort Hill, Devonshire, or email us at sales@bbc.bm, or send us a message on Facebook at Bermuda Broadcasting.
Welcome back to the program. Time now for our Talking Death special. Tonight, we take a look at wills. Like many in the world, Bermudians have a penchant for passing along property. But what happens when someone dies without a will? As Tony Waterman finds out, it can leave heirs in quite the quagmire.
This is from 1932.
Yes.
This is sort of where it all starts.
Absolutely.
This pile of papers, full of deeds and death certificates, tells a tale of black land ownership at a time when property meant much more than just a roof over your head.
My grandfather's sister and their aunt were amongst the first black women to own property, and therefore had the right to vote here in Bermuda in the early 40s.
For the Simons family, property was paramount. Naomi Schroeder is a granddaughter of Joseph Hillgrove Simons, who owned 4 acres of farmland in Warwick. He gave each of his 10 children a share of the land. But as the property passed through multiple generations, things became muddled.
The challenge arises if at some stage one of them doesn't write a will, and we want to sell our jointly owned piece of property.
And that's something that happened. It wasn't just one person that didn't have a will, but as it passed through generation to generation, inevitably other people didn't have wills in place either.
Absolutely. So it has become a nightmare. And here, this is why you can see that I have all of these papers trying to unwind this ball of string.
The idea of selling the family homestead was first broached 15 years ago. Things ramped up last February, but it's been roadblock after roadblock. Papers need to be tracked down. Wills need to be probated. And as time passes, so too do more family members.
The division has becoming smaller and smaller, and members don't want to take responsibility.
The bills also pile up, including one for a trust and estate lawyer to help untangle the situation.
You get pieces of real estate in Bermuda that are owned by so many people. So you look around the island, you see derelict properties.
Jane Collis says she sees it all the time, and that it's a relatively easy problem to avoid. A basic, well-crafted will costs about $1,000 and can last for years.
If you die without a will and you only leave a spouse, but you also have parents or siblings, the spouse is going to get 2/3 of your estate, but your parents, if they're surviving, or your siblings are going to share the other third. And I've seen that come as a major surprise.
Wills are also a good place to outline your end-of-life health care wishes, or to assign someone to make medical decisions on your behalf. And in the digital age, it's easier than ever.
The biggest thing is making sure that the documents are properly witnessed. It's very important that you have it executed in accordance with the Wills Act.
Besides tangible assets, there's the contemporary consideration of your digital assets. Your photos, social media accounts, even your frequent flyer points.
It has value. If you have a small business and have a blog, you may want someone in your family to inherit some of the benefit there. Make sure you have the passwords and usernames separate and pass it on and let people know that there is a place to find this.
As for Naomi Schroeder, she says this experience has taught her a few things, like sell your property before you die so your heirs can avoid the headaches and the heartaches.
My greatest fear is that what was a cherished family homestead or whatever will fall apart.
An ending she's doing everything in her power to avoid. Tony Waterman for Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Certainly lessons to be learned. If you find yourself in a situation similar to Naomi Schroeder, you can find help at Senior Solutions or Age Concern. Their phone numbers are up on your screen right now. And a reminder that this week's Talking Deaf series is brought to you by the following sponsors.
At Bully Graham Funeral, we pride ourselves on the service we provide. Careful and compassionate removal of mortal remains, comforting and friendly consultation, advice on media preparation and publication of necessary notices, notification of clergy and other support agencies, preparation of remains, printed service program, monuments and nameplates, transport in a stylish Mercedes hearse with 360-degree viewing. We specialise in traditional Bermuda coffins in cedar and mahogany and have many styles of urns for those opting for cremation. 32 Mount Hill, Pembroke, Bermuda, 441-292-3320, bgfunerals@logic.bm.
I got these for seasickness last week, and they're terrible.
That's strange.
I know. I put one behind each ear like you're supposed to, and nothing happened.
These are tablets. You're meant to take them with water.
I got this pump for my asthma. Hasn't changed anything.
Show me how you're using it. It's an inhaler. You're meant to breathe it in.
Well, this toothpaste? Definitely off.
It's a hemorrhoid cream.
Well, that explains why my gums are shrinking.
Front Street is set to be buzzing tomorrow evening as the first Harbour Nights of the year kicks off in tandem with the opening ceremony to the MS Amlin World Triathlon Series. Vicki Abram invites the public out to celebrate Flora Duffy, our young athletes, and of course the Gumbays.
I know everyone's so proud of her, and this is a wonderful opportunity to come out, congratulate her, and of course wish her good luck for the race day on Saturday, April 28th. And also as a part of the evening, the public can look forward to an opening ceremony which includes a large group of young people who are new to the sport of triathlon, 7 to 15-year-olds, who will be running on Friday night at the Tokyo Millennium Re Kids Duathlon, and they're also invited to participate in the opening ceremony.
Value pack fresh Purdue chicken leg quarters, $1.79 per pound. Only $1.99 for a large California grapefruit. For your mac and cheese dish, Tama macaroni, just $1.79 for a 500-gram package. Start your day with Kellogg's Special K fruit and yogurt cereal, $6.89 for a 12.5-ounce box. Dettol Antiseptic, $2.99 for a 500-milliliter bottle. Visit our website, www.marketplace.bm, for more super specials.
You can count on us.
sport now, and Bermuda's under-17 women's national team arrived back on the island safely last night. Earl Basin has the details and much more in tonight's sports report.
There were cheers and even a few tears as the under-17 women's national team arrived back at the L.F. Wade International Airport last evening from Nicaragua. On hand to greet the team was the Minister of Sports, Michael Weeks.
It was only fitting that we, as a country, came down here to welcome our young ambassadors back home because, like the President said, for the last 3 days, we have been on eggshells. I know the parents and family have been on eggshells, and we, as the government, prayed and we looked to do whatever we could do to make sure that our girls got back home safely.
Team captain Denny Watson, having to take a minute to compose herself, said her and her teammates are looking forward to whenever the tournament resumes. But first, she said,
I really just want to thank everybody for supporting us in the couple of days we were in Nicaragua and the one game that we did get to play. Unfortunately, the tournament was suspended, but when they schedule for it to be back up again, we're going to be ready because as soon as Monday comes, we're right back into training and there's no breaks because we're ready and we're ready to take on the rest of the competition that we had.
Assistant coach Nikita Robinson talked about how the coaching staff kept things calm in the early stages.
Well, funny story, when we got to training on Thursday, you heard a few little noises and I asked the TLU and he was like, oh, there's something going on. So between Sharice and I just told the girls, tonight's the opening ceremony of the tournament, so that's fireworks to celebrate. And so every time one went off, we were like, oh, that one says Bermuda, but you can't see it, guys, because it's in the day and all that fun stuff. But when it kept happening in the night, we just kept changing the story just to keep them at ease. They didn't witness too much stuff.
Bocce Bermuda athletes Steve Wilson, Uche De Silva Andrade, and Omar Haywood will compete in the BizFed World Open in Montreal, which gets underway today. The Bermuda contingent joined over 100 athletes representing 18 countries from across the globe at the Open. This will be the first event of the year that contributes to the qualifications for the 2020 Paralympics to be held in Tokyo, an event in which all three players are striving to gain a spot in. Ronald Agenor is a former professional tennis player who earned a top 25 world ranking in singles, reaching as high as world number 22 in May of 1989. He is in Bermuda at the expense of the Mallory family in a bid to help 16-year-old Trey Mallory advance his tennis career. Agenor has worked with Mallory for a few days, and in a session which involved men's number one player Gavin Manders, Agenor put them through a strenuous test. He has identified some things in Mallory's game that need a bit of detail.
I'm discovering every day that I've been here. Trey's improving really fast, and he's showing that he got enormous skills. So he really is a great talent, and if he can continue training at that rhythm, that type of intensity, he'll go very far. And we're mostly working on the transition game, serve, because he's a tall guy. He has a great motion, and I think the sky's the limit for him.
The Bermuda men's national cricket team went down in Dubai by 10 runs, taking on the Blues Select for a third time. Bermuda were out for 202, chasing 212. Clay Smith, the national coach, summed up the result this way.
Today was a really tough loss because we were, 85 for 2 after maybe 15 overs. So you're talking about having to get 130 runs in 35 overs. We have 8 wickets, man. Realistically, we should have just cruised to it. But our middle order, we had a middle order collapse, and we just struggled. They had 4 really good spinners.
I'm Earl Baisden with Bermuda Broadcasting Sports.
That's all we have for you tonight. We hope you join us again tomorrow evening at the same time for all the latest news. Good night.
Jasmine Patterson's wardrobe and makeup is provided by Gibbons Company.